Hi friends, how are you? Hope you're doing well and you're having a nice weekend. Today is the 14th of June and I'm finally getting around to doing my May TBR. Not my May TBR, my May wrap up. Oh, I had a bad night. Just memory and brain have just decided to, at the moment, just go, never mind. Anyway, as I was saying, this is my May wrap up. I managed to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 physical books, which I'm really pleased about. And I think I got 2 ebooks in. I can't remember what they're called. I'm sorry, my ebook, my Kindle is charging downstairs, so I need to leave it. But what I will do is I'll leave the list of the books that I read in the descriptions down below. As I say, good reading month. Really pleased with it. Those of you that have watched my May TBR video, you will know that I pulled 2 books out of like a Santa hat, and I read one of them, DNF'd the other. The one that I DNF'd was The Shadow of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Or The Name of the Wind, sorry, by Patrick Rothfuss. I will try and reread it. I think I just wasn't in the mood for it. So although I DNF'd it this month, I will possibly pick it up again and try again. And if I get to the same stage that I don't really like it, then yeah, I'll just DNF it completely. So what were the books I read this month? Okay, the first one was Sheila Roberts and the Tea Shop on Lavender Lane. This is Bailey's story. She comes back to Icicle Falls from Los Angeles and she ends up owning a tea shop. And it's just the story of how she gets to have the tea shop and things like that. It is absolutely lovely, really nice book. Would highly recommend it. Another one I picked up was, hopefully you can see that, The Angel Tree by Lucinda Riley. If I actually angle it, you'll get the bit better. Now, I've never read any of Lucinda Riley's. This was my first book of hers, and it will not be my last. I love this book. It is set in modern time, plus just partially at the end of the Second World War and just after the Second World War, and it is brilliant. This tells the story of Greta, and that's all I'm going to tell you. It is beautiful. Just the way it is written and everything that happens to her, it's her life story from, you know, when she moved from her country village to London, what happened to her in London during the war, what she did, and then what happened to her afterwards. And I think you'll love it. The characters are just so well written, and I have to read more of this lady's books. I then read Perfect Strangers by Erin Knight. I think I ended up giving this one about a 2.5, 3 out of 5. This one was okay, but I will say that there are trigger warnings in this for bullying of both physical and mental nature, also cyberbullying, grooming of a teenager, and that was horrific. It was just I read it because I wanted to find out what happened. But I wouldn't say it wasn't a comfortable read, and it wasn't a nice read. I don't know that I can recommend this. If you want to read it, yeah, I would say go ahead, see what you make of it. But I was very uncomfortable reading it. So that's all I'm going to say. I then read, I haven't put these in order. A Wedding at the Comfort Food Cafe by Debbie Johnson. This is the final book in the Comfort Food Cafe series. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was whimsical. It was nice and light and easy read. I enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed all the Comfort Food Cafe books that I've read. I like the characters. I like the setting, and yeah, I would go for it. Another book I read was Mrs. Pepperpot to the Rescue by Alf Prosen. This was part of my I didn't totally participate in middle grade May, but I just sort of read some middle grade books, and Mrs. Pepperpot was one of them. Mrs. Pepperpot has been one of my favourite characters since I was a child. And I just love this lady that shrinks, this old lady that shrinks and has lots of adventures. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. So if you've got children, it's like little short stories, and you have diagrams as well. So if you've got kids who love being read to, who are just getting into reading and stuff, Mrs. Pepperpot is a must. So the book that I think this is the book I picked up, Santa Montefiore, The House by the Sea. Oh my goodness, this was brilliant. Again, set during, I wouldn't say it was wartime, but it was maybe just after the war. Sorry, Second World War. This little girl who basically is just allowed to roam free, and she sees this beautiful villa and is peering through the gates, as little girls, or even anybody does. If you see a beautiful house, you'll go, oh yeah. And she ends up meeting the son, the boy that lives there, Dante, and he takes her under his wing, and it's the story of their friendship. It's the story of what happens, and then it moves to modern day Cornwall, and there's a family that own a guest house or hotel. The hotel's in trouble, and it's how they deal with how they're going to get the hotel to stay open, and the two stories intertwine, and it's beautiful. I really loved this. This would be a 5-star for me, without a doubt, as would this Lucinda Riley. So yeah, I would definitely say to you, if you want a really good read, go pick this up. I then also read Last Letter Home by Rachel Horry. I don't really know how to pronounce the surname. If I butchered it, I really apologise. This is another one set in Italy. It is again another one of these villa stories, and it's about a bundle of letters that are found, and the girl that finds them, Bryony, who has given them, ends up back in Britain, and she traces up on the letters and everything, and these letters were again sent during the Second World War, so you get an insight into life at that point. It also has, I would say, triggers for, there was obviously discrimination in it because of your country of origin, etc. But well worth a read. Beautiful book. Again, I would probably give this 4.5, 5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the first book of mine that I've read of this author's, and it will not be the last. I'll definitely be picking up more. I then read a book that I've had since my primary 7 graduation ceremony to high school, and I've never read it because I just didn't want to read it. I'd passed this by that stage, and I was like, why the heck did I get this? And it's The Spider Mystery by Caroline Keane. It's a Nancy Drew. It's number 4. Yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'm a major Nancy Drew fan. I think I'd read some of them way before primary 7, and you know, I was already onto things like James Herriot and Jane Eyre by that point. So I think for me, Nancy Drew is never going to be a childhood favourite of mine, but I wanted to give it a go, and I'd probably give it about a 3 out of 5, maybe. I then read, another one from middle grade was Skyhawk by Jill Lewis. I loved this book. It was brilliant. It's set in Scottish Highlands. Friendship between a wee boy and a wee girl, and how that friendship develops. Something happens, and I don't want to go into details with this, but it is a superb book. It deals, there are a lot of things that it deals with, but it's done in such a way that you don't get upset by it. You're just like, oh right, okay, that's happened, that's a shame, but you carry on reading. I would highly recommend this book. I really would. For a middle grade book, I would give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think it was so well written, and you know, go for it. go read about go and read about a wee boy and a wee girl in the Highlands. And then my last physical book, I wanted something that I knew I was going to really, really love. So I went Snowflakes and Coffee Cakes by Joanne DiMaio. This, I think, is my second time or third time reading this book. I love it so much. This story is to do with, if I can remember her name, Vera. And she's coming back. She's driving out of the town of Addison after her sister's wedding, sees this house, on a whim buys it. And it's a story of her sort of doing it up, meeting, you know, becoming reacquainted with all the friends and people she knew in Addison, and the things that she finds, not only in the house, but more importantly in the barn, and what that makes her do. And I'm not joking, the descriptions in this are beautiful. The descriptions of snowflakes and how they form is amazing. This will always probably be a 5 out of 5 for me. You know, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I would, if you've never read any Joanne DiMaio, go pick this one up. This was the very first one I read of hers. It's what got me started on her as an author. And I would so recommend it. As I say, there were 2 other books I read on my e-reader. I think one of them was called Awakening, to do with, it was the start of a series. I think it's called the Covenant College series or something. As I say, I'll leave the description down below. To do with a girl who goes off to as a freshman in college. Things happen during her first semester there. She has to help find out what's going on. Although she's kind of reluctant to do it, she's reluctant to believe in other things. So it was an okay read. Give it probably about 3 out of 5. As I say, I got it as a box set, as a BookBub box set, and just got it. I've kept it. I will probably sort of stagger my reading of it throughout the next X number of months if I feel like it. It's one of those, I think I can sort of, having read the first one, I can go on to the second one if I want to. I don't have to. But that's it for my May wrap up. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know if you've read any of these books. If you want a more kind of in-depth discussion of the books or wrap up, or review, please let me know. As you know, I'm not one, I don't want to put spoilers out there. It's not something that I like doing. I like sort of just to let people say, well, I enjoyed it, this is why I enjoyed it. I don't really want to give bits and pieces away about the stories. But if you want to have a more in-depth discussion from me about any of the books, please let me know down below. Please let me know what you read in May. Was there anything that you would say, oh yeah, go and read, you've got to read this book, it was really, really good. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon. Bye.